Hello, friends, and welcome to the Secrets of a Witch podcast with me, Sabrina Scott, where I talk all about life, love, healing, witchcraft, magic, spirituality, tarot, trauma, all the things, including relationships, love, dating, I don't know, all of the stuff, all of the life things, because even if we are witches, we date. We love, we feel things, and all of that is so relevant to the magic that we do, what magic we choose to do, how we choose to do it, why we choose to do it. There was a time when my inbox was full of requests for people wanting me to do witchcraft for them, basically. And for the record, I'm still totally down for that, still open to it. But it was crazy how many of them were love related. You know, like people would want me to do a magic on person ABC to make them do XYZ. And obviously, I gotta do a little bit of education to folks when that is their vibe. And I totally don't mind doing that educating. But all that to say, how we see love, how we see relationships, our mindset, our self-worth, all of that stuff is going to hugely influence how we approach that area of our life when it comes to magic, right? So that is why I talk about that stuff on the podcast, if any of you guys are wondering, because I know that one of my most common things that people ask me about in a tarot reading is love and romance. And we're all human. We all need love. We all need affection. We all crave some aspect of that, right? So even though it's technically a witchcraft podcast, it's also a podcast about like everything. So today's topic, let's get into it. What are we going to talk about today? So there's this idea I've seen floating around, and everyone has an opinion, especially women who think a lot about dating, and, you know, people have opinions. And so, of course, I've got my own opinion, and I'm just here to talk about it as one does. So when we're talking about money and dating, it's a big, juicy topic. So if you're triggered easily, just switch to a different episode. But if you are willing to come along with me for the journey, and I can't get into the whole fucking thing in this podcast episode, but this one is also a response to something I saw online. I'm, again, not going to say what, not going to say who, but I'm always grateful when people share their stories and their feelings and their thoughts, even if I disagree in a big way. And I'm appreciative because it gives me something to think about, gives me something to respond to, and it gives me something to talk about and analyze. And I'm always thankful for that. So I saw this kind of debate happen on someone's page, and it wasn't really a debate per se, but just different opinions. Some hateration was being shared. Someone had a breakup. And again, I don't know this person. I wasn't there. But what I'm responding to is kind of just like part of what I read. And the reason I'm talking about it is because I've seen this kind of same thing happen in so many different places. And so it's kind of like a common story. It's like a repeated story. And so let's just fucking talk about it. That doesn't matter who this is. Who cares? No one cares. What matters is the theme, right? And so I've seen some people, when a woman exits, and this is going to be a pretty heteronormative conversation, so just like bear with me, but I think we can apply this to like people of any gender, to be honest with you, but for the sake of ease, I'm just going to keep it simple. So keep your pants on or whatever, don't get freaked out. So I've seen this kind of thing happen when people, especially women, talk about breakups with men to each other, and in certain communities of women which are interested in marriage and serious relationships and improving their lives. Let's just put it that way. And what I see sometimes is when some person has a breakup and the guy didn't really give that much to them in the relationship. Like, didn't really pay for anything, didn't do, like, gifts, really, or travels, or didn't do anything romantic. Like, it was more kind of 50-50 type of relationship. And we all know how I feel about that. I'm, like, very anti 50-50 relationship. 50-50 for me feels so platonic. It doesn't feel sexy. It feels like friendship. And I'm totally happy to do 50-50 with my friends. Like, that's what that's for. But in love and romance, it just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. All my worst relationships, actually, were with 50-50 guys. And that's part of what got me on this whole journey of leveling up, expanding my ideas on feminine energy and gender and polarity and all this stuff. But, well, yeah, one of the things, let's just start there. One of the things I noticed was literally every guy who I ever dated who wanted to do 50-50, who wanted to split the bill or wanted to take turns, was the worst guys I've dated. They were maybe feminist, quote unquote, but they all like kept score. They were also stingy. They were not giving. They were so concerned with themselves being given to. They were so concerned about, oh my God, am I going to be taken advantage of? Let me just tell you right now, no healthy man in his healthy masculine energy is going to be thinking or operating that way. Okay? A healthy man in his healthy masculine energy, in my humble opinion, is not going to be thinking that way. He's going to be thinking, you know what, I really like this person, or you know what, I think I might start to like this person if I met them. So instead of worrying about being taken advantage of, instead of worrying about keeping track of who pays for what, I am going to treat this person out to a lovely dinner, a lovely time. And you know what, if we don't get along, or if they don't look like their pictures, or if it's just like not a fit for whatever reason, you know what, like at least I shared a delicious meal with a new person and had an interesting conversation. At least I met someone new and I learned something about myself. That is how healthy men approach it. Even if it turns out they don't like the girl or whoever they're out with, a person in their healthy masculine energy is going to be like, yeah, that's okay. No worries. They're not going to feel swindled. They're not going to feel taken advantage of. They're not going to say, okay, I planned this date, you can plan the next one. They're not going to be concerned about what they're receiving at all. And so I relate that to this whole thing, right? It's like, oftentimes I see women get out of these relationships, and it's a relationship they probably shouldn't have even committed to in the first place. It's, why be in a relationship just for the sake of being in one, right? It's like, what is really the fit? Is it a fit? And often when I see people prematurely commit, when I see women prematurely commit, it is often to these like 50-50 dudes who are so eager to be given to. And so if they're so eager to be given to, they're the one that wants to be the feminine energy partner in the dynamic, And I did talk about this a bit in the manipulation episode, which is a while back now. But a lot of manipulative men are in their feminine energy because, oh God, there's so many reasons for this, but it's like they're giving in order to get. There's ulterior motive. They're wounded in both of their energies, their feminine energy and their masculine energy. This is woundedness. They're giving in order to get. They're being masculine in order to get to be feminine. And that is like not how healthy dynamics work, in my opinion. If someone is giving, if someone is in their healthy masculine energy and they're giving, that is something that is done completely selflessly for the joy of giving. And maybe it's not 100% selfless if they get a huge benefit of joy and pleasure out of giving, but ultimately they're not really concerned with receiving anything back. The pleasure of giving is enough for this type of healthy masculine energy individual, right? And so when I see a lot of these women who are in these more 50-50 dynamic relationships end up being so miserable and just unhappy and say things like, it's like really hard to, date quality men when you're so high quality yourself, and like it really does get challenging and blah blah blah. And it's like I've also this is a whole other episode, but I saw someone say like, I like, at least I'm not one of those women who thinks that all they have to give to a man is their pussy. So excuse my crudeness. This is the phrasing that this individual utilized. And I just find that so fucked up a way to even think. Like, I just, like, it's just such a shitty way to, like, put down women who either don't financially contribute to a marriage or a relationship at all, or contribute very little. It's like, that's so dehumanizing. It's so dehumanizing. And I think it's a way to basically deal with the shame of not being given to. It's a way of dealing with the shame and the guilt, perhaps, of not yet meeting or entertaining a man in his healthy masculine energy who is finding it joyful to give. These bitter women can say, oh, I'm giving more than my pussy. Like, fuck those women who don't pay for anything. It's like this idea of having to earn your keep. And that is like a very masculine energy way to move in the world in your love relationships. And it's often, I think, a fast track to failure and misery, which is why I'm talking about it. I think it's fucked up. I think it's what it is. What bothers me the most about it is it's wildly judgmental towards women who have learned how to step into their feminine energy and receive more than they ever thought possible. And the flip side argument I've heard from people is like, well, if the woman isn't financially contributing at all, then she can't leave if it's abusive, or she can't leave if she's miserable. And it's like, my answer to that is that the true feminine, empowered, healthy woman has her own money, has her own ability to work, has her own ability to earn money. But she either doesn't have to, or she does earn, she does have money, she does work, and yet she has no need to spend it. Right? I think some women make this mistake that they think it has to be either or, But you can work, you can earn your money, you can have your business, you can have your career, and you don't have to be in a 50-50 situation, and you can be given to, and you can receive. You can be in your masculine, healthy energy in your workplace, and you can be in your healthy, feminine energy in your love relationship, and enjoy receiving from a man who is truly in his healthy, empowered, masculine energy. And so what I see often is like this very toxic combination. And I am going to be talking about this in my feminine energy big ass course that is happening shortly. So stay on the lookout for that. But I see this often, right? It's this dynamic where this woman is maybe an overachiever, feminist, totally get it, like same. And this used to be me in the past, so I get it. But what I see is a complacency and like an okayness with the male partner in the relationship not really, stepping into his masculine energy role to provide, to give, to solve problems. And I know some of you guys might think I'm like in the 1950s, but I do think this energetic polarity thing is really important. And obviously the way that occurred in the 1950s, I think was largely not the vibe. And I do think right now we do have this opportunity to live in kind of like the best of both worlds, right? Like we've got like rights for women, we've got rights for people of different genders, we've got rights that people can marry whoever the fuck they want. Like we have that freedom. Everyone can work, everyone can be anyone they want to be. And so that also gives us this added potential and this added space to play. And I've seen these amazing healthy relationships where the woman is in her empowered masculine and she fucking loves it, and the husband is in his empowered feminine energy and he fucking loves it and it's just a fucking awesome like dynamic for everyone. I love that. My point is not that anyone has to be anything, but that most people don't have an awareness of these polarity dynamics. Most people don't have an awareness of why their relationships aren't working. Most people don't have an awareness of like what they could be doing differently or that they even can make different choices. And you guys know me, if you've been paying attention at all, you'll know that I'm big on choice, right? And so part of the reason why I'm talking about this is I just am so sad when I see so many miserable women who have the most miserable dating lives. And these are women who are generally like beautiful, smart, accomplished, but their dating life is a disaster. And often what I see with this is they end up with these kind of like lackluster, like man babies who cheat, who lie, who don't pay for things, who don't solve problems, who gaslight, who are just not very good partners and are not in any healthy energy whatsoever. You know, they're not in healthy masculine energy. They're not in healthy feminine energy. They're just in like the wounded fucking fuckery of it all. And so I just think that's something that's important to name because I see a lot of women just like accepting this and just like deciding that that's just the rest of their life. And I think sometimes when we see that, there's like a resentfulness that happens towards women who have figured out a different way to live. And yeah, it does like take a lot of time and energy to step into that empowered feminine energy. It takes a long time. It took me a really long time to figure it out, to be honest with you. But it's been an amazing journey. And so if you're a woman who like loves the 50-50 thing, I would just challenge you about that. I would challenge you to take a good hard look at your man if that is your gender dynamic situation. And to be like, is this man happy to give? Or does he only give if he's going to get something in return? It's something that's really important to pay attention to. And I think a lot of women don't pay attention to these flags of like the energy polarities and these dynamics in early dating. And then they end up in these relationships, which is like red flag after like 20 million red flags, just one after the other. And I've seen it more times than I can count, and I can analyze it top to bottom like pretty easily, like what is going on. And the other thing too is like when these feminine energy men try to push women into their masculine energy and then women take the bait and switch into that masculine energy or just embody that even more, that makes it more difficult to really notice fully what's going on. When we are in our feminine energy, we're more able to receive the energies around us and notice the sketchiness, the swindling, the lying, the weird vibes. I've got another episode on how feminine energy is protective, so if you're curious about that, you should go listen. And of course, as I said, I am relaunching my feminine. No, I'm proper launching. I did a pre-launch last month on my feminine energy without bullshit course, and that is going to be proper launching pretty much now. So keep your eyes peeled. And it's going to be fucking great. So if you're interested in any of the topics I've talked about in this episode, it's going to be a fucking great course for you. It's going to be amazing. And of course, my Magic Without Bullshit course is also relaunching right now. So more information about that, magicwithoutbullshit.com. Any questions about any of these courses or any of my other fun offerings, send me an email, ceo@sabrinamscott.com. Hope to hear from you. As always, if you love this podcast, please share it with a friend. Please leave a 5-star review. Lots of love. Have a wonderful day, evening, morning, whatever time it is. Bye.